Welcome everybody. Tonight we are going to be presenting to you an artistic webinar, and I am your presenter, and I am Mary Carollo, an artistic educator. Our webinar is called What's New in the Artistic Software. We've got new features, including a print and cut feature, and the artistic software is now compatible with many digital cutters, including the popular Brothers Scan and Cut. We're very proud to introduce these new products because we think it's going to provide a great deal of creativity, even more than we had in the past. And you'll see on the screen that we have 4 programs. The Premium, the Suite, the Simple Cut, and the Monogram. And you can see they're all dressed up with new packaging. Artistic Suites has a free update to the Artistic Suite version 7. And this will include the print and cut in full color, an improved applique stitch, and a new stencil bridge assignment. And we'll explain all those things as we go along. Now this is a free update. Artistic Simple Cut you will have known by our Crystal program. It was formerly called the Artistic Crystal program. And we have changed the name to Simple Cut because we feel that this is going to give you a little better understanding of what the program actually does. And it's going to allow you to be on the cutting edge with today's new digital technology and digital cutters. This is also a free update which will make your Crystal program Artistic Simple Cut version 7. The Monogram also has a free update, and the update has going to be called version 7. Artistic Premium is our newest full version. And what we have done is we have added, besides all of the features that we've had in the Artistic Suites, we are adding 3 new programs to the Wings portion, or modules. There are 3 separate modules that are going to work in conjunction with one another, that are going to update Artistic Suites to Artistic Premium version 7. And let's take a look here. Okay. What I want to make sure that you are clear on is that the artistic program is made up of 2 separate programs, Creative Drawings and Wings Modular. And in the past, if you've purchased our artistic program, you've probably worked primarily with the Creative Drawings portion. Occasionally, maybe you would send some of the designs over to the Wings Modular when you wanted to do some of our veneer cutting. With this new program, you are going to be using the Wings program much more often, and you can toggle back and forth because they do work in tandem with each other. Let's explore a couple of the options that are going to be found in the new text module that is going to be found in the Wings section. All right? Here are just a few of the examples of some of the features that you're going to find. And we have text on path, and we have placement of text by line, arc, and length adjustments. Now, some of these may look a little familiar to you, but what we have added is the ability to change and modify these things with some of our editing windows. Wings is an editing program by nature, and what they've done is added so many more new things to the editing. And up here on the top, I'm just going to get my mouse to work, you're going to see that you have a circular pattern, And what you're going to be able to do is actually set this circular pattern with an inner circle that's going to determine what kind of an arc you're going to have. Plus, there's some numeric entries so that those of you who know what size you want it to be can make the entries on there. One of the next features in the text module is the stretch to fit. This is automatically going to adjust the horizontal and vertical spacing. Now, if you look down here at these two samples, you're going to see how they look the same, but they look different. All right? And there are, again, editing features that are going to allow you to work within a parameter and have all of your lines fit into that parameter and be proportioned correctly. And along with that feature, we have horizontal and vertical alignment. This is going to give you the option to set and align multiple lines so that they look professional, so they look centered. And again, I'm going to call your attention to the first one and the last one. And just noticing the spacings on here. Anybody who works with lettering, and there's a lot of people who find the lettering, that's one of the reasons they buy the programs, is because of the lettering features. You're going to have so many more options now. Then we come to escapement. Escapement and kerning are new possibilities in the Artistic Premium software. Escapement is the ability to rotate the characters of a text from 0 to 90 degrees. You can align them vertically or slanted. And then you have kerning, which is a very important feature because it allows you to space the letters as desired. And again, these are things that make lettering either look professional or look like an amateur did it. And you can see what a nice effect this has when the spacing is done properly. The last thing I'm going to talk about in the lettering is something called name drop. Name drop is something that is very important, but actually in the professional people who do this for a living. But as a home sewer, I'm sure you've had occasions where maybe you're having a family reunion and you want to put a logo and a title, maybe it's the Smith family, and you want to put the date of your reunion, but you want each name to be separate. With the name drop feature, you're going to be able to enter each name separately, so as you sequentially work, so one design out and then the next design, the names are going to automatically flip. So you don't have to go back and enter each name separately. As I said, in business this is used a lot, and now we are bringing it to you so that you can use it at home. And I know there are many of you out there who do lettering and do have a small business from home. Again, you're going to find this extremely important. The next module we're going to talk about is the artistic module. And let's explore some of the features in that one. The artistic module has something called an envelope feature. It's going to produce color and shading and three-dimensional effects. The node editing, which is the editing of a simple shape, has been expanded to give you even more possibilities than you've ever dreamt of before. And we're going to show you a couple examples of this. All right? And then we're going to be able to modify and customize. This is going to allow us, again, to not only modify shapes, but to create unique stitch patterns within an object. And again, we are hitting upon some of the highlights of the new Artistic Premium version 7. There are many, many more things that we don't have time to talk about in the first introduction. But again, we're trying to wet your whistle a little bit and get you excited about the things that we think are going to be most effective for you right off the top. One of the things that I found so neat is something called vector fill. The vector fill is going to allow you to put shapes inside of stitch patterns. So kind of basically like a stamping or embossing. And then we have some other features that are called block fill and form fill. The block fill, as you can see, allows you to fill the entire space with a pattern. And right next to it in the blue, you can see that there's another kind of a squiggly pattern. But I'm going to call attention to those little blocks on the pattern. Those are node editors, okay? So as you move those little nodes, you're actually going to change your pattern. And what's so cool is that as you change the base pattern, all the rest of them are going to change on the area that you have filled in. This is so the size can be adjusted, and you can actually draw your own design. What we've done here is we've taken some of the symbols and some of the clip art designs that are in the program, and we've used those to fill the block. But you can draw your own and be very creative and just do a bunch of squigglies, or if you want to put an initial in, you can also put lettering in or draw your own lettering. Again, a great advancement with filling just textures. Over to the side, you're going to see where we have the form fill. Now this is done on a weave texture, and you can see that we've basically chosen a picture and we've kind of imported it into the texture, and the stitches form around to create the shape we've done. Can't you just see how many ways you can use this new feature? Now we're going to move on to one of the features that I am having the most fun with. Not only myself, but the other educators also. This is called envelope. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit, and again, as I said, it's very difficult to explain all of the details when we're doing a program like this introduction, but hopefully you'll get the idea. 3 options are chosen. We have a basic rectangle, and you can choose to select on the outline. And what that does is going to change the shape of the outline. All right, so it went from a rectangle to this little arc right here. And below that, we have something called on direction. And on direction basically keeps the square format, but it moves just the stitches to form the arc inside of the rectangle. And then we have something called on stitches. This is very similar to the one across from it, but besides changing the shape, it is also changing the stitch patterns. So again, you can see the contours of the shape as we make the changes. This is called envelope. Again, another sample of how the envelope works. There are control points, and again, you can see these little background blue lines. This is how we're going to control the way the stitches form. Ooh, I clicked a little too fast. Let me go back here. All right. So in the left, the rectangle is showing just the stitches being moved, but on the right, where we are placing a contour within the stitches and also making a contour on the rectangle itself. Again, wait till you see what we've got next. It just goes on and on. All right. This started out as a rectangle. And as I said, all of the educators have been working with this and realizing just how amazing this can be. What happens when you bring your rectangle up, you tell it you want to have an envelope. And the envelope is going to give you all of the control points. There's 16 control points within an envelope. And I'm going to be able to take a basic rectangle and spread it out. And you can see over here where I have the nose even expanding beyond the shape itself to change the direction of the stitches. And I ended up with a beautiful butterfly with all of the contour and 3-dimensional effects. And one day I was sitting and I got very creative, and I decided to take a rectangle and I ended up making it into a couple of very pretty party dresses. And you can see again the detail that's involved with this envelope feature. And as I'm flipping through here, you're probably noticing that there's a couple of different textures in each of the shapes. That's because I can choose any kind of texture I want. I've chosen an open design for the last couple of ones I've shown you, but it could very well be a closed design like a texture or a satin stitch also. Many of these options are going to be found in the Creative Drawings features where we have all of our stitches. All right, again, we're still working with the envelope, and these are some of the choices that you can choose. Now, this cup was made by Maddie, and she started out with a rectangle. She simply turned it after identifying the shape, kind of pulled a little bit, and voila, this is the result. Isn't that amazing? And again, as you look at the different textures on the inside, you're going to see just how amazing this new feature is. All right, and I think, well, let's see. Hold on just a second here. This is my, I should have a little video going for you. There we go. And what I want you to notice is just how cool this looks as it stitches, because you can actually see how the stitches are creating those contour looks and those three-dimensional looks. What I love is that the stitches themselves become narrower and wider to accommodate the shapes, and you're actually pulling them apart, creating the look. Isn't that nifty? I think that's just so much fun. All right, I have even used the envelope to adjust some of my lettering. Again, you can see how the envelope feature is around there. So there really is no limit to the things that you can do. And I do want to make note that the cover of the Artistic Premium box has some beautiful, what looks like balloons. Well, those were done by another one of our educator, Valora, who created those using the envelope feature. So I'll tell you, the things you can do are just absolutely amazing. It's almost like you're doodling. Once you start, you can't stop. Now, one of the next features we're going to talk about in the artistic module is the ability to create a gradient effect. And you're going to see on the screen right now that we have several choices of the gradient. And again, this is all up to the user. You can choose which gradient you want, and you can actually mix and match them. All right, so let's show you a couple examples of that. There are 12 different gradients available. And these are some samples that were done using the gradient effects. Over on the left, you're looking at the Color Me Cool block. All right, and if you look closely, I hope you can see this, the OOL I did with a couple of different types of gradients just so that you can kind of get the effect of it as you change the gradient type. All right. On the blocks, I did the same thing, except what I did was I stretched the stitches out a little bit farther so that you can basically see through them. And I know you all remember when you were in elementary school and they taught you how to blend colors, how to make your turquoise and how to make your pinks. Well, when you have the gradient on the blocks like I did here, all you have to do is layer your blocks and you're going to get all of those colors, because the different gradients, you can see through them and you can see the blocks underneath, and look at the effect there. I think that is, again, it's a lot of fun. I know it's getting harder and harder to look at anything else but working with the software because there are so many choices. Even the lettering up here has been layered. There are 3 different layers to create the different effects. To the right-hand side, Maddie got very creative, and she took a block of just a texture, all right, and she again layered them with an entirely different effect than I did with my color blocks to the left. But doesn't that look like ombre fabric? Isn't that, again, so amazing? And you do it all yourself. And you can audition it right on the screen to see what it's going to look like before you even stitch anything. Again, some great examples of the new gradient features in the Artistic Premium module. Then we have the digitizing module. Now, the digitizing module has many, many digitizing features that have been put in for many of our people who digitize a lot. There's manual controls, but there's also automatic controls. And the automatic controls are much more advanced, where you can move several nodes at one time. You can get some copy and paste effects with several pieces within a design. And the people who have been a little more experienced with digitizing are going to love what they can do with these new digitizing tools. And they give you a more professional effect with all of the designs, automatic and manually. All right. Another new thing that we have done that comes in the digitizing module is improvements to the photo program. Now, one of the things that we like to do with photos is to bring multiple designs on our screen. And we weren't able to do that before. Right now, we can. We can bring multiple images in and work with several of them at the same time. Another feature is being able to change the properties of your backdrops. And we'll talk about that in a second. The next thing is to adjust the stitch density and compensation, because what we're going to do in this new photo program is we're basically going to layer 4 different colors on top of one another. And the best way just to show you that is to talk about my little girl up in the corner here. Now, when I assigned the stitches to her, the first layer was a blue layer, and of course she was all blue. Then I assigned a second layer, and what I was able to do is shape the second layer, which was red, shape it around the scarf area so that just the scarf has a different color. All right? And I did the same thing for a third layer where her hair has a new color. So this is going to give you much more dimension to the photos that you use. And again, whether you use photos or whether you use the clip art, the photo stitch is really a fun new feature to be working with. And you're going to get a lot more detail as we go along. And we're going to show you more as we get more comfortable with these programs. We're going to present some more webinars and some more features of some of the specific designs that are available. As I said, we're just kind of giving you a little taste right now. Another thing that I just mentioned in the digitizing module for your photos is the ability to adjust the background graphic. This is something that I've worked with in the past, and when we brought our backdrop in, we were kind of stuck with what it was. And we weren't able to change any of the shadings or the brightness or the colors. What was necessary is to go ahead and use a photo program. So you had to open a different program that was made for adjusting graphics or photos and change your options there. The gamma and the contrast and the brightness, these are all now available in the Artistic Premium version 7. So there's no need to go to another program when you're preparing your artwork on the screen. Again, a time saver, and it's going to let you adjust things, because sometimes when you adjust them and you add stitches, you realize you didn't like that adjustment and you want to go back. So it's going to be very, very convenient. Another thing that's available in the digitizing module is something we call cloning, all right? And cloning and array are a couple of the features that help you make designs very quickly on your screen. And you can see in the little sample right here on your screen, we started out with just drawing a petal, all right? And when you adjust, we bring it in and then we select cloning, all right? Then we would go in and set the parameters as to how we want it to look, how many pieces or petals we wanted to show. And then we would simply click and add the petals to fill in the space that we told it we wanted it to fill. That's another thing about this program. There are a lot of numeric entries so that you can define the space that you're working in. Then one of the things that is really, really nice to be able to do is, let's say you've created this flower and you're not really happy with the way those petals look. You can go over and select any one petal, make adjustments to the one petal because you have selected it as a clone, and as you make the adjustment to one petal, all the rest of them are going to follow suit, just like little soldiers. It's going to give you the same shape. So this is a great way to go in and make adjustments to the things that you want to create yourself. I talked about array just a second ago, and the array is one of those things that you don't think you're going to use very much until you start plotting some of your designs. Now I can see filling a pillow for maybe home decorating with just all of these stars. Now without the array, we would have to put them in one by one and make sure that the alignment was absolutely perfect. By choosing array, and again we have a rectangular and a circular array option, all you have to do is click on one of the stars, tell it you want a rectangle. It's going to ask you how many do you want vertically and how many do you want horizontally. You simply type in those numbers, click the array, and the program does it for you. Again, very quick and easy. Another thing that you can do is with the new program is that you can go into the advanced node editing that's available, and you can change the look of the stars the same way we did with the petals, and you can select to clone the new designs that you brought in, and you can even go in and color edit so that my pillow could have a number of different colors and I don't have to worry about the fact that I brought it in as one design. Again, convenient features, and you set the size that you want to be working with. Now, everything I just talked to previously was involved with the paid-for upgrade. Now we're going to talk about the free updates to some of the other programs here. All right? The free updates, which you're going to be able to get off of the artistic website, all right, is going to be able to upgrade if you have current versions right now. We're going to give you the feature print and cut. We are going to give you the new applique alignment, and we're going to show you how you can make a stencil bridge assignment. So let's go on. And let's talk a little bit about print and cut. I don't know how many of you are paying attention to what's going on in the sewing and craft world. You know, sometimes we kind of sit back and we do our own thing, and we're not really aware of all of the new products out there. Sometimes you've got to get out and look in the stores, look online to see what's new. Digital cutters have become one of the hottest new accessories to both sewing and crafting. And what you see before you is the ability to take and cut out specific designs either in fabric or in paper. Thus, the print and cut. This is all done in color, and this was done on a digital cutter. You're going to notice as I scroll through here the amazing detail that you get on these. And this is what is difficult when you're trying to cut things out yourself. Now, we use cartoon characters here, and actually these, my little tiger and my little boy, are within the artistic programs. There are over 3,500 designs, both clip art and symbols and lettering options and embroidery designs and graphics. So you've got quite a selection, but also you're not limited to what's in the program. For instance, in this slide right here, you're going to see that we took, this is a child of Regina, who works in our office. We're going to see a little more of Regina in a few minutes. And she took a photo and she simply scanned it in. Then all she had to do was draw an outline around her daughter. Now, there's a lot in the background, and she didn't want all of that background. So what she did was just select the pieces, which is her daughter, and outline it. Then we send it to the print and cut feature in the artistic programs. And you can see that the outline is exactly what is going to cut. And we feed the picture through the digital cutter, and it is going to cut out her daughter. And look at that. There she is, jumping a three-dimensional look right there, right off of the screen. Isn't that fun? And Maddie made this wonderful diorama where she took some of the office people and some faces you might be familiar with in the stores. And look at the detail. All of the furniture was built using the print and cut. Also, the print and cut can be used not only on paper, but you can cut fabric also. Maddie made this wonderful butterfly wall or hanging, and when I saw it, I first commented on what a great job of paper she did. And she said, no, this is fabric, because, you know, when you hang things up in a room, sometimes the sun fades it on paper, and it's a little more long-lasting if you do it on fabric. Look at the amazing detail of that. All right, now, what do sewers have lots and lots of? Well, I think you all know. All you have to do is go down to your sewing room, and you have fabric. So we also want to talk about the fabric cutting abilities of the artistic programs. The applique has been improved because we wanted to have nice deep stitches when you have an applique so that your fabric is going to hold in place. You have an automatic applique feature in the artistic programs, which is right here. So when you bring your design in, all you have to do is click on applique, and it will put all of the stitches, all 3 layers of stitches necessary, your outline, your base, and your applique stitches. And all of this can be done in the software. So not only are you assigning an applique to a shape, you're also sending the information for that shape to a digital cutter so that you can cut the fabric to match exactly how it's going to be sewn. All right, and here you can see the pieces of my my leaves and my hearts. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you know that if you cut them out yourself, you would not be able to do it that exactly. All right, so we're going to show you a little video here, all right, of how the fabric is cut. And this is just, again, so amazing. And that was, you know, we're doing this kind of quick, but the fabric was cut on the digital cutter, and then we had sewn our placement line in the hoop So all we had to do was put the cutout from the digital cutter right on top of the placement line, and you have a perfect applique. And I also want to make note of the detail. Look at how nice the applique stitch, and again, we're showing you the automatic applique, but you could very easily do your satin stitch around here also. Look at the curves of the tail. Look at the detail around the ears. This is Buddy the cat. This was done by Maddie. And again, so easy because it's all done automatically between the digital cutter and the software that is putting the applique stitches in. All right, so let's see what we have next to show you. Well, we're talking about appliques again. A lot of people who sew right now are doing a lot of quilting. So traditional applique using a satin stitch is another opportunity for you. As I said before, with the previous design, we showed you the automatic applique, which is basically a blanket stitch. All right, but the satin stitch is an option also. And again, look at the amazing detail. I love applique. I truly love applique. Unfortunately, it's not one of my strong things that I do very well. I'm good at a lot of things, but getting those points just so that they look that good, because what happens in the program is that it automatically corners it so it looks perfect. And I love the look, and now I can create the same thing by using the digital cutter to cut out my shapes, and I can use the software to assign my stitches. Now, another thing that is possible is when you use the artistic, you can create an applique that doesn't have to be sewn. You know, we're doing a lot of new things. Years ago, you know, quilting was only done by hand, and some of the competitions didn't like it if you did things by machine. Well, right now, it's kind of like no holes barred. You can do anything you want. The sewing machine that is on your screen right now actually started out as an embroidery design in one of our machines. We simply took it into the artistic program, assigned an outline around it, and cut it out of this fabulous iron-on fabric. Actually, we made it an iron-on fabric by putting like a heat and bond on the back of it, and we put the crystals accents around it. It's a no-sew project. All right. This little girl over here is a design that comes in the artistic program. She could be fully embroidered, so her coat and her umbrella could all be embroidered, or, as you can see, the satin stitch around her. Or in the program, we can eliminate all of that inner stitching, and we can cut out these shapes so that the coat and the umbrella is simply a fabric that we applique. So can you see the possibilities? And again, you're not limited to just graphics. You can take all of those embroidery designs that you have a collection of, those of you who have embroidery machines, and you can make them into appliques. You can make them into iron-on features. Now, we talked about the quilts a moment ago. I also wanted to mention that in the artistic program, you are going to find a selection of outlines for many of the traditional quilting patterns right there for you. You don't have to draw anything. You don't have to go searching. They're right within the program. And the cool part about this is that as you change the sizes of these, it's going to be proportionate. Like, for instance, this one right up here, the square triangle. If you change the size of it, all of the pieces are going to change, and it's going to fit. All right? As with any of the shapes that we might have along here. And again, these are just samples of some of the traditional quilt patterns that are available. It's kind of thought of everything. All right? Now, when we introduced the artistic program several months ago or over a year ago, we did a lot with crystals because this is one of the things that the enhancement to embroidery was just such a neat new idea. This is an embroidery design that we brought into the program, and we assigned a row of crystals both on the leaf and in the middle of the flower, and we cut a template that fit exactly on my embroidery. The template was cut with a digital cutter. The crystals were added with just on a template in one motion and stuck on there with a sticky backing and ironed on. Very simple and fun. Crystals are still part of the artistic program. You can use it to enhance embroidery like we just showed you, or in this sample right here with the little basket, this was an embroidery design, and I simply replaced the basket part and the handles with crystals. So I took away the crystals and took away the stitches and replaced it with crystals. Again, a great effect, and I even added an outline. So you can see in the artistic programs there are so many features that will enhance what you already want to do and things you already have. And with the drawing tools in Artistic Suites and Artistic Premium, it's very simple to create your own designs. Now, let's talk about not sewing, because there are lots of us out there who like to sew, but we have found that there are so many new products out there that we can kind of take our creativity and put it into things using our fabric or using some of the fabric-like things that are out there. Some of the vinyls and the papers have a fabric backing. Those of us who scrapbook are finding all of these designs in the scrapbooking stores. And you know, sometimes it's hard to believe, but for all the things they don't have exactly what we're looking for. I know. But with the artistic programs, you can create your own, no matter what it is. Now, we've got a couple of different samples right here, all right? We have a stencils where you can use for painting. We have glass etching. We have your paper crafting, all right? And we have vinyl, adhesive vinyl. And I know you've all seen all those wallscapes that are very popular that you put on your kid's room or in your family room, love and be happy and all of that, all right? And you can create all of those yourself by cutting them out with the digital cutter through the artistic program. And you can use any font you want and as large as you want. The paper crafting, again, these glasses have been etched, and the little place cards were all done using the artistic program. All right. Now here we've gone back to crystals, all right, and I just want to show you that you can create your own shapes. And we talked about lettering, and here's some samples of a lettering font, and we incorporated the crystals in here. Or you can go and create your own shapes and create stencils. Now, some of you may be familiar with stencils for quilting. You buy those plastic templates and they've got vines on them and flowers. But again, they only come in the size they come in. You don't really have a choice. With the artistic program, you can bring in your own design, whether it's a leaf or a flower or a simple heart like I've got right here, and you can go in and assign where the bridging is going to be put. Now, for those of you who are not quite sure what we're talking about when we talk about bridges, is that if I didn't have a bridge keeping this and this together, the center of my heart would fall out. Somebody had to explain this to me when I first started doing that, Again, it took me a little while to get it, okay? Well, of course, it's going to fall out. So we have to put some little things in here, which we call a bridge. And the bridge can be assigned wherever you want it to be. Let's go to the next slide. And once you have your stencils, you can use it for your quilt patterns, or you can come and use it for painting. the girls and I were talking that when we go to the shows, the quilting shows, and all of the craft shows around, we are seeing people who are selling paints. And years ago, we did some painting with fabric, but it kind of didn't catch on for a really long time. Now, I can't believe the kinds of paints that are available, and we can make our own stencils. And look at these stencils. Aren't these amazing? Look at the detail in here. Now, these were formed using some of the clip art designs that we just put in a circular pattern. Actually, I think this is one of Maddie's patterns again. And she used the glitter paint. Isn't that great? But look how you can customize things. Now, another no-sew project is working with paper, greeting cards, and scrapbooking. This sewing machine looks a little familiar, doesn't it? Well, we've used it a couple of times. It happens to be a great pattern to sew, but it also lends itself so nice to some of the crafting that we're doing with our paper. What we've done here is we've used that stencil, and you can see now this I cut out. I want to show you the difference between a cutout and a stencil. Where over here, when I wrote the word joy, again, if I didn't have the little bridges in here, the letters would just fall out, and I would just have a space. All right? So that's how you can use that stencil bridge for any of your scrapbooking or for your paper projects. All right? Now, what I'm going to show you next, Regina did a wonderful YouTube feature, and this is what we're watching right now. Now, what she's doing is she is cutting out lots and lots of flowers, all right? Now, she used the array. I talked about that a few moments ago, where she covered the sheet of paper with the same pattern. So here you see her just, isn't that simple? Oh my goodness, what a time saver. All right? Now, when she was done, she created this wonderful ball, okay, for decoration. And you see all of those intricate flowers, and she did a couple of different colors, and you know how long it would take if you did it by hand. They were all done on the digital cutter, and the shape was found in the artistic program. We've got lots of flowers and lots of shapes. Just pick an outline, or you can draw your own, or you can edit what's in there to look like your own. But again, simple and easy. All right. Here's some more no-sew projects. We're using the iron-on vinyl on these two projects with a little bit of paint. All right. Again, we've got some crystals on here. The heat transfer vinyl is so fun. Remember I was talking about T-shirts and family reunions and everything? You could use that name drop and make a bunch of these things for your family. Wouldn't they be impressed? All right. And the nice part is that you can use the positive or the negative. I love that. Now, here's some vinyl. This is called sticky back vinyl. We were talking about wallscapes. And these are a couple of little trinkets I had around the house. This is a box that I got a new watch in, and I simply cut out some of the clip art that sometimes I use this for sewing, for stitches, but in this case I took the clip art and I put it on the sticky back vinyl and simply used it as a decoration. Over here, again, I chose some of the lettering and I made a little plaque. You know, sometimes the plaques don't really say what you want them to say, so you can personalize it. And what's very nice about the artistic program is that you have a selection of fonts that matches what is in your computer. So how many fonts come with the artistic? The answer is however many fonts are on your computer now. So if you downloaded some specialty fonts, they're going to show up in the artistic program and you can use them. And I like mixing the different types of lettering here. It just looks a little bit more interesting, and it doesn't draw your attention to just a bunch of words. It draws your attention to each individual area here. And again, that's sticky back vinyl as opposed to the iron-on vinyl that we use on fabric. All right, now again, no sew projects here. We have our digital cutter, and you saw that we used it for cutting. All right, in this case, we used it to write. The same type of lettering that's available for the vinyl or anything else. You can type your message in the artistic software, and instead of using the blade in the digital cutters, you're going to replace the blade with pens. All right, now there are pens that are made for digital cutters, and there are ones that you can make fit in there. And again, what a great way. Sometimes, you know, we don't want to take the time to sew on some of our seasonal pillows and decorations around the house, but you want to do a little message. It's a great way to quickly make your fabric have a message on it without actually sewing it out. And again, we've got a bag down in the corner where there's all kinds of different phrases, great for summer going to the beach. All right, again, so simple and so easy. This is a no-sew project, perfect for your scrapbookers if you want to customize some of those sheets that you put in your scrapbook. All right? All right, I see a note here, so hang on for a second. And let me see what my message said. Okay. All right, the question is about Monogram. If you update your artistic suites to 7, yes, the Monogram is going to be included in that. Okay. Okay. All right. I have a little message box. Sometimes I have to stop and read that. Okay. All right. And let's go to the next slide. This, again, is a close-up of the glass etching. Again, you can see how we use lettering so much. That's why I was so excited with all of the new things that are available in the lettering modules, all right, because we use lettering for so many things. What we're looking at here is several ways that you can decorate glass. My mouse is trying to get away from me. There we go. Okay. This over here is what I used the middle one for, where I etched all around and just let the lettering or the numbering come as the glass. And here I did exactly the opposite, so that I used the lettering, okay, to be the etched part. And on this one here, I didn't etch at all. I used the sticky back vinyl because, you know what, next year's going to be a different year. So I can just peel off that 2014 and put 2015 in there. So again, fun ideas. Glass etching is one of the things that we can make templates for and etch your own glass. And I'll tell you, I was afraid of it before I started it out. And I know Regina felt the same way. She did the that wedding scene that you saw in one of the earlier slides. But we both found, once we got into it, it was amazing how quick and easy it was. Nothing to be scared about. All right, now let's talk about how we work these cutters and get the cutters to communicate. The artistic software can directly connect to many digital cutters. And you can see when you go to the editing portion in Artistic, it's going to show you a number of different digital cutters. Most of them will have a direct connection by a USB cable and connect. The Brothers Scan and Cut will be saved as a FCM file and put on a USB stick and simply used in that device, and it's going to work beautifully. You can see here we cut out some crystal patterns. All right, hold on just a second. I love the messages. I'm not quite sure what it means, but I always say no. My computer's never blown up, so I guess we're in good shape. I mentioned earlier that there's over 3,500 designs included in the Artistic Suite version 7 software. They are embroidery designs for those of you who have embroidery machines. They're graphic designs that could be used as embroidery. They're graphic designs that you could use for your printing and cutting out. They're graphic designs that you could just use for some of your scrapbooking. All right? Look at, here's more samples of this. Again, the problem is finding the right one. Actually, this one right here is my favorite. I love that. It reminds me of like the Dutch China. Plus, we have wingdings and symbols and webdings. They all can be converted to graphics or to stitching. Lots of possibilities. And we even have our own clip art library. So many of the designs. And again, some of these here, you will see I use them a lot when I'm doing crystals. I use them when I'm doing my stencils because they're all there and they're all simple and already done. All you have to do is resize them. All right. Again, showing you some of the monogram and lettering, some of the unique things that you can do with the lettering. All right. You do get an instructional DVD with all of these programs, and I strongly advise you to look at the DVD. Trevor Conquergood from Sunset Stitches has done our instructions on the DVDs. You will find it so easy to follow along because he's very clear. He goes over them, and the nice part about a DVD is that you can stop it, try it yourself, and go back and do it again. Quite a few of the things that I learned how to do, that's the way I studied them and found the finer points of them. All right? So, again, look for that instructional DVD. All right? Now, I mentioned the YouTube designs, all right? And the YouTube videos are available by going through the artistic website, all right? And you can go and use the address right here, and it's youtube.com/user/artistic USA, all right? And if you subscribe to our channel, you'll get notifications every time we put something new out there. And again, you can see a couple of the previews of Regina doing these. Regina and Valora did, there's some really cool things there. You're going to want to watch how they did the silhouette down at the bottom here. You can do the silhouette out of paper, you can do it out of fabric, but it's all cut on the digital cutter. Well, I hope you've been excited as I was when I first saw these new upgrades and updates to the artistic programs. And as I said, we are going to be presenting more as we start working with the program and get a little more into it ourselves. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to check our YouTube site and the artistic site. Thanks a lot.